What's good everyone, this is the Crypto Captain back with a new video, and today I'm going to be updating the market with Bitcoin and what's happening in the market at the moment. So if you remember correctly, in my last video I was talking about when Bitcoin was moving sideways, forming a floor here from 24th of April to the 5th of May, and as I said, I thought that this was a bullish accumulation of Bitcoin for potentially going and moving higher on a rally. And so what we saw here was the floor being formed and it retested this blue support band, and I didn't fully expect the move to happen this fast, but we're seeing a continuation, and very shortly after that accumulation phase Bitcoin rallied to 104k roughly, and now we're seeing a bit of chop here. As you can see, this support line of 100.6k is holding up quite nicely, and this Fibonacci retracement extension tool is what I was talking about in the last video, on where I was predicting perhaps the short-term top for this uptrend rally could occur before potentially a retracement and a move higher to the 2618 level in best case scenario. So some interesting factors that I'd like to talk about is when I used the Fibonacci retracement extension tool, the 0.786 support level and target on the Fibonacci retracement is holding up as support, and so is the 100.4k level as well. And this looks like potentially Bitcoin will continue this continuation of the uptrend, and it's only roughly 5% away from the all-time high. This happened sooner than I anticipated, but I knew this was possible with such a momentum and volume being shown in the market. And I think with global liquidity continuing to increase and breaking its all-time high, Bitcoin has been following along as expected, but once Bitcoin resets this all-time high or surpasses it and then retests it as support potentially, then I believe the real rally, the big rally where there'll be a lot of FOMO and a lot of greed in the market, especially with retail, will happen from 107.8k, and potentially we could see a huge push and extreme momentum to the 1.618 level. An interesting point I said from my last video is that a lot of traders think that this potentially, the 1.618 level at roughly 130k, which is also a psychological level because it's a round number and happens to be the 1.618 extension level and target, could be the full top peak for Bitcoin on the major rally before some people anticipate the long bear market will happen, and that will be the end of the bull cycle. However, it's always good to keep these scenarios in place and update and regulate what the market will be doing and the indicators that show if that will happen or not. However, the case that the 2618 is still at play, I think is more realistic, and I definitely think that there will be some resistance at this level, but with the momentum and volume that we've been seeing in the last few weeks and the big upward trend that's been formed, I do believe that, especially because it's May and June hasn't even started, that the next months are going to be the most parabolic, and that's when I think this base case target of 166k or 167k is a very good target to have. And the very bullish case scenario of 200k psychological level, I think that will be a huge blow off top. I think the best case, most bullish case scenario to happen, if it was to happen. But realistically, it's good to keep a kind of realistic mind on what Bitcoin is capable of in this bull cycle after everything that's happened. And there will be manipulation in the market, as we've seen from Trump and his tariffs, but we just have to update as we go along in the market. But all the indicators are not showing that the top is in, so I think Bitcoin will easily and without pressure surpass the all-time high very shortly, probably, from the momentum and volume we're seeing, just absolutely demolishing all the bears, short liquidations at this point. And I think this is the main target we have to see, 130k, and then we need to reanalyze what's going to happen there. If Bitcoin struggles at this resistance line, if we see a lot of indicators showing that things are getting dicey and there's bearish divergences, then we need to reanalyze and think, is this the time that things are going to inverse? At the end of the day, I think that Bitcoin still has a lot of fuel left in the tank this bull cycle, and that this large consolidation that happened from the beginning of the year in 2025 is what you could call as the massive slingshot that will propel Bitcoin to massive new all-time highs like we've never seen before. And this wouldn't have been able to have happened, or will happen, unless this long consolidation phase would have happened on this manipulation, I think. And this is what has caused Bitcoin to gain momentum, a lot of buying pressure here, and in turn will result in Bitcoin making a new all-time high and potential retracement, and then one final huge rally to a huge number we have never seen before. So it's good to keep this in mind, but it's also important to use indicators as an important tool and technical analysis in guiding you into when this bull cycle top could happen and the probability of Bitcoin peaking. And in turn, when Bitcoin peaks, altcoins will follow and lag behind. So that's why Bitcoin is the main indicator for the bull cycle, when the cycle is finished or not. Thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found this informative. Please remember to like and subscribe for more regular content to keep you updated on the markets. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.